friends. I'm so glad you're here. It's our second episode. Today, we're going to be talking about something really fun called comparing yourself. I don't know if you ever do it, but I definitely do. And I've struggled with it in the past. And I want to teach you some of the actual real tools. Like, logically, we all know, like, don't compare yourself. Don't, it doesn't matter, right? We all hear that. But then when it comes down to it, when you're on your phone watching everybody's highlight reel of their life, or you see them at school and they all seem like they have all their friends and the perfect clothes and everything's going great for them. It's really hard to not look at your own life and be like, what the heck? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I be as happy as them, as outgoing as them, as whatever as them, right? It's easy to compare ourselves, okay? So here's what I want to tell you. If you compare yourself, if you ever have negative thoughts about yourself, welcome to being a human, okay? That's actually so normal. And if you don't have negative thoughts about yourself, I guess you're a psychopath. That's what they say. Only psychopaths don't have negative thoughts. So welcome. You're normal, okay? But here's the thing. So many of us have a negative thought and then we attach to it and we hold on to it like it's like our best friend and then we just like decide, "Oh, that's just a fact about me." And I want to tell you something that changed my life years ago. Here's what it is. Every thought you think is not a fact. And here's the other thing. Every thought you think is not you. Like we just think it's like our own mind. But here's the thing, you have thousands and thousands of thoughts that come into your mind. Some of them are you, some of them might be, the adversary, Satan. Some things are just random, right? Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. You actually have a choice if you want to hold on to it. This is how I always explain it to my coaching clients. I do one-on-one coaching with a lot of teenagers and it's so fun. Okay, pretend like you're standing outside your house and you're waiting for someone to come pick you up, let's say there's cars driving by. And in one of the cars that drives by, they're like, "Hey, like, you're really not good enough. Why don't you get better clothes?" Are you gonna like run after that car and jump in there? No. You're gonna be like, "Okay, anyways, keep driving." So pretend like there's another car is coming up. And they're hanging out the window like, "Hey, you're really not like cool enough. You should be funnier. No girls like you. Like, you should be more athletic." Are we gonna like go hang out with that in that car all day? No, that's a terrible idea. So then we're gonna wait for a car and we're gonna listen to what they're saying. And they're saying, "Hey, guess what? You are enough. You are loved. You're amazing. You are amazing no matter what. Like with all your weaknesses, all your strengths." We want to decide the thoughts we're gonna think. And then instead of going in those cars that are screaming negative thoughts and then just being like, "Well, I guess this is true," it's like we're just gonna let them drive by. Like when the thoughts come into your head, you do not have to make it like it's a fact and that's how you are. Like here's what I hear all the time. Ready? First of all, like we talked about last week, "I'm not enough." It's like, what does that even mean? That's not even a thing. So that's a thought. You're just like, okay, well, when I hear that, I know that's not even true. So I'm just going to let it drive by. Here's another one. Sounds like a really pretty thought. "I'm a perfectionist." Listen, I can't test your blood and be like, "Yep, positive for perfectionist." The reason we say that is because it's like a pretty way of saying like, "I'm really hard on myself," but it's like a good thing. It's like, no, it's actually not. Being a perfectionist is actually like being in scarcity. It means like you believe you're only good enough if you're perfect. And how does that work out for you? Not great. Okay, so there's thoughts that come into our head. We do not have to run after that car and jump in there and listen to them all day. We can just let them go. Okay. So when you start to really realize this, you're going to watch yourself think. Thoughts will come into your head. For a long time, you probably think, like I did, you don't even notice what you're thinking. But when you start actually noticing what you're thinking, it's almost like you get out of your body and you watch yourself think, like, what am I thinking? Like, here's the thing. If you're feeling anything, if you're feeling sad, worried, stressed, anxious, happy, it's because you're thinking something. So it's hard to tell sometimes. We just know we feel worried, we feel stressed, but it's harder to tell what we're thinking, but it always comes from our thoughts. So here's what I want you to do. I want to slow it down. I want you to look when you're like, maybe it's just you at school and you're feeling yourself feeling anxious and stressed. And you're like, "Okay, what am I thinking? Am I thinking like everyone's better than me? Do they even like me? What's happening?" Right? Here's the thing. There's three different kind of things that we think about a lot. It's here. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this. If you're listening on the podcast, I'm going to explain it to you. Okay. There's three different like things that we kind of think about and what we focus on. So the first thing that we think about is what we think about ourselves. Okay. So, like what I think about me, what you think about you. And the second one is what we think about others, right? So, like what I think about you or what you think about everyone else. Third thing is what we think they think about us, right? So, what I think that you're thinking about me or what you think I'm thinking about you. Does that make sense? I know it's a little confusing, but where do you think we spend the most time? Well, first of all, let me ask you this. Where do you think we have, yeah, where do we spend the most time? Do we think about ourselves? Do we think about others? Or do we think what they're thinking about us? I'll tell you this. I think myself included and people I talk to, most people spend like 90% of our time, we're trying to figure out what other people are thinking about us, or we're trying to influence, we're trying to change their mind about us, right? How much power do you have in what other people think about you? Here's the thing. Sometimes we do. We have some influence, but the truth is, you can't make anyone think anything. Like, you cannot make them change their mind about you. That, because remember, like we talked about last week, what they think about you is about them, not about you. Like, if they don't like bananas, that doesn't mean bananas are terrible. That means something about them. Same thing with you. So, instead of like the two places we actually do have more control is what we think about ourselves and what we think about them. That's where we have control. And that's where our power is. But most of us are spending all of our time trying to change what, or spend our time obsessing about what other people think about us. And here's the truth. I think you're never going to get rid of that because you're a normal human. Like we said, we have negative thoughts. You're never going to get completely rid of it, but what you focus on grows. So when we just focus so much on what other people are thinking, and then we're telling ourselves, like, maybe I'm not as good as them, maybe they don't like me, right? That's when we start feeling all that anxiousness, all that stress. How do you act when you're anxious and stressed and worried about what people think? Probably not outgoing, probably not smiling, probably not being your real self, right? And then you make it true, right? We're going to go through the model. So, the model that I teach is every circumstance that we have is just neutral. Like, it's just the facts, right? Like, it's not a hot day, it's not a cold day, it's 74 degrees, okay? Just proven fact, and those are neutral. And then whenever there's like a circumstance, you'll have a thought about it. So, say you're at school, and here's the fact. The fact is, you walked in the lunchroom and no one waved you over to sit with them. Okay. When that happens, some people are like, sweet, I actually want to sit by myself, or I'm glad no one asked me. Some people are like, I guess I have no friends and this is terrible, right? You have a thought about it. And that thought is what influences your feeling. It's not the fact that no one waved you over. Because, like I told you, some people love that. It's not a fact that you would feel bad. But if you decide, oh, I guess I'm not cool, I guess no one likes me, then you're going to feel what? Lonely, left out, bad about yourself, right? When you feel anything, it's like putting gas in your car. Okay, so pretend like I put like anxious, lonely gas in your car. What are you going to do? Like if I have a camera on you and you're in the lunchroom, okay, you walk in, no one waves you over. No one looks at you or asks you to come over, right? Your thought is, I have no friends, no one likes me. Then you're feeling lonely and stressed, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to go be like, hey guys, go find some friends? No, you're probably going to sit by yourself. You might get on your phone. You might, and then what are you going to be thinking? You're going to be thinking like, oh, why am I not good enough? Why does no one like me? You're going to be mean to yourself, right? And then you make your thought true. The thought that, like, I have no friends, you make it true. You ensure you have no friends. Okay. So here's the thing, that's a normal thing to happen, right? But here's the truth, you actually have a choice. You have a choice on what you think. And at first it sounds like, well, it means that's my fault. No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you have the thoughts. But when you decide that if you're the problem, you're the one that gets to fix it. If everybody else in the lunchroom has to all of a sudden get really friendly and nice, you got a problem because how many of us know the lunchroom, not the most friendly, happy place, right? So if everyone else has to change for you to feel better, it's going to be a bad time. So what if you are the only one that has to change for you to feel better? So same scenario, let's pretend this. You walk in the lunchroom, right? We know we don't want to feel lonely and sad. So what do we want to feel? No one's waving you over. You want to feel like what? I don't know. What do you want to feel? You want to feel confident? You want to feel just calm? What would you have to think to help you feel calm and confident. This is what we do. We try on thoughts like we try on shoes. When we try on shoes, we're like, these are too tight, these are too big, I don't like these. Oh, these are perfect. That's what we do with thoughts, okay? So if I want to feel calm and confident walking into the lunchroom and not all of a sudden everyone didn't get friendly. It's the same lunchroom, okay? No one waved me over, but I want to feel calm and confident. What would I have to think to feel calm and confident? So let's just try it out. Let's say maybe I want to feel, or maybe I want to think, hey, listen, I'm awesome. I'm a good friend. This is my favorite thing to think, okay? I'm a good friend. Like, think of like all the reasons you're a good friend. Like, I want you to actually do this at home, okay? After this episode. What makes you a good friend? Are you a good listener? Are you funny? Are you loyal? Are you like positive? Do you give compliments? What makes you a good friend? And instead of trying to think, trying to make people like you, you decide, hey, guess what? I'm actually a really good friend. And there's a ton of people in here, and I'm going to go find my friends. So if you thought, I'm a good friend, and I'm going to go find my friends, when you walk in the lunchroom, what are you going to feel like? Calm and confident, right? So what would you be doing? If you have calm, confident gas in your car, and you're thinking, I'm a good friend, and I'm going to go find some friends, what would you do? I don't know, you'd be like looking around like, who looks nice here, right? And you might be like, okay, what about over here? And maybe say you sit down and they're not actually nice. You're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm not cool. You'd be like, well, I guess those aren't my friends. Where's my friends? And you're gonna keep looking. And then you're gonna find the people because you're not making it mean something bad about you, that they aren't inviting you, right? So when you're calm and confident because you're thinking, I'm a good friend and I'm gonna go find some friends, then what are you gonna do? You're going to be outgoing. You're going to talk to people. You're going to keep trying. You're not going to give up. You're going to be nice to yourself. What are the chances that your result would be that you make friends? A lot higher, right? If you're not sitting on your phone by yourself, you're actually going out and talking and being nice to yourself, the chance of you making friends goes way up. This is my challenge for you, okay? After this podcast that you listen to, I want you to go home and I want you to write down, why are you a good friend? Write it all down, all the reasons. Like, I'm funny. I laugh at myself. I'm good at jokes. I'm fun to hang out with, right? I'm a good listener. What is it? What makes you a good friend? And then when you go into social situations, instead of like looking at like, oh, they're cooler than me, they're better than me, they have friends and I don't, you're going to focus on what you actually have control over, what you think about you and what you think about them. Which that thought is so perfect. I'm a good friend and I'm going to go find some friends. There's some nice people here. I know that. This is a big room. I think good about them and I think good about me. And that is where your power is going to come from. Focus on what you want to grow. What I want to grow is my confidence. And the way I do it is I lean into my own power. And I quit spending so much time trying to change what other people think about me. And I decide, hey, guess what? Maybe the problem isn't everybody else. Maybe it's what I'm thinking. So good news. If I'm the problem, I get to change my life. So this week, I want you to work on that. I want you to work on deciding I'm a good friend. And whenever you go into social situations, you're like, hey, there's friends here. I'm going to go find them. And I'm not going to decide that anyone's better or worse than me. Hey, there's a lot of friends here. So here's my last thing. You are enough because God is enough. God made you that way. You don't even get to choose. It's not even up to you to decide if you're enough or if you're good enough or if people, what they think about you. That's not even your business. It's none of your business what they think about you. It's your business what you think about you and what you think about them. That's where your power will come from. So this week, let's get better at choosing our thoughts and purpose. Inviting God into the process. Ask God, what do you think about me? Help me to choose my thoughts on purpose. So keep it real, be yourself, be real this week, and join me next week for just some more good conversation and have a great week.